Yeah, isn't it amazing how a man can find himself alone? Fall into the darkness for
When Rani was brought to us by the police, they suspected she was an underage married girl. One afternoon, we were having life skills sessions. That day, they asked the girls to say their own strengths and weaknesses, and one by one, they went around the circle. So Rani said, you know, one of my strengths is that I like to try new things, but my weakness is that I hide things about myself. Later that night, when it was bedtime, Rani came up to a different woman on the team, one of the caregivers, and she said, Didi, big sister, I learned today in life skills session that I should tell the truth, but I've been hiding the truth about my story. Could I tell you now? And the caregiver said, yeah, of course. And so they went to a corner privately, and all the details spilled out. That Rani had been in a very abusive home, her mother had died, the father was beating her regularly. So eventually she got fed up with that and ran away to get away from it. And on the street, she found a young couple with a baby who seemed very friendly. And they said, look, you can come live with us. We'll take care of you. So Rani went home with them. But a few days later, they sold her to a brothel. So suddenly she found herself locked inside a room, being raped 10, 12, 15 times a day. To make matters worse, one of the men that was a repeat client came to her and said, look, I want to marry you. I love you, Rani. Will you marry me? And this 13-year-old girl who was starving for love said, oh, of course, anything. The man took her to a Hindu temple, and there was no priest that day and no documentation. But he smeared a red line over her forehead and said, now we're husband and wife. And Rani believed that they were legally married. They went to an apartment nearby and began to live there. Soon after that, the man said, look, we don't have enough money for food, for rent, can you work? And Rani said, oh, I'll do anything for you. And he began to bring men to the house, and now she was being prostituted inside her own home. She didn't realize she'd been sold a second time by the pimp and madam to this man. So all these details spilled out as Rani told our caregiver this one night in the corner. And the caregiver said, look, if you can tell our social worker this information, she can help you a lot more. And Rani agreed. The next day, when the social worker came, she named a number of people and places here in our city where she'd been held against her will. And as a result, a number of arrests were made. So Rani learned firsthand the power of telling the truth and why it was really helpful to her. And later we reflected about how amazing it was that we had been able to have a whole team of women working there, how those women had really helped Rani. If she'd just gone to an institution and been one of 100 girls in a corner, I don't know if her story would have come out and the police would have actually then been prompted to make arrests because it'd still be hiding inside her.
Put out by too much gasoline. We're all strangers passing through a place in town. Afternoon, life is but a vision in a window that we're peeking through. Helpless conversation with a man who says he cares a lot. It's a passive confrontation about who might throw a punch or not. We are all transgressors, we're all sinners, we're all astronauts. So if you're beating death, then raise your hand, but shut up if you're not. 'Cause I am a difference maker, oh I am only one who speaks to him. And I am the friendliest of friends of God. I am a difference maker, oh I am only one who speaks to him. And I am the friendliest of friends of God.